What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. This is Landon Almighty checking in. And I felt like I haven't said that in a while. It's been a while. I'm sorry for the very inconsistent uploading for this season and last season. But I explained it in a community post, if you can see that when you tap on my channel. But to wrap that up, if I'm being very honest, I just have not been in a great place mentally for the better part of the last 2 years. And while I love making YouTube videos, I really do. I really love this. I wouldn't do it if I didn't. It does take a lot of energy to record them and edit them and push them out. And certainly in the amount of videos I want to do, it takes a while. So I'm sorry for any subscribers been wondering where my videos are. I apologize. Just stick with me. I know it's hard to push out. But I'm going to get into my rivalry week picks. I had to return for this week. This is the best week of college football. Easily, every single year, rivalry week, right after Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. The best week of college football. And you know I had to make predictions. This is being made a little bit late. I'm sorry I couldn't make a prediction for the Egg Bowl. I did predict Mississippi State to win, but I was wrong on that one, wasn't I? Yep. So let's hop in to my predictions, and we're gonna start out with one of the biggest games of the weekend, probably the biggest game of the weekend. The game, Ohio State versus Michigan. Now, I'm not going to get too deep in it because this is a topic for another day. Next year, probably. Whenever I'm feeling right. Not the point. Anyways, Ohio State, Michigan. Not the best rivalry to me. I think Iron Bowl is better. I really do. But this year, it certainly has a lot of hype going into it, the game. Ohio State and Michigan. And man, if you've been paying attention for the last, 20 years of college football, Michigan just has not been able to beat Ohio State, at all. They've just struggled immensely. I think the last time they beat them was 9 years ago, and then before that was 7 years ago. They just have not been doing well the past 20 years versus Ohio State. And really, every single year I've been watching college football, Ohio State has beaten Michigan. And I'm going to say that trend continues. Ohio State has looked like a great team this season. I said a few weeks after the Oregon loss that they look very different, and they have. And, man, last week, I didn't cover it. Like I said, I haven't been making videos, but they went out there and whopped. They whopped Michigan State. And that was a good Michigan State team. Now, I understand that Michigan State team had its problems. I'm not saying they went out there and whopped an Alabama, Georgia level team. But they went out there and whopped a very good team, and they did it convincingly, 49-0 at halftime. It was insane. And Michigan hadn't looked too bad either. Their only loss coming to a very close loss versus Michigan State. And I think they'll put up more of a fight than Michigan State did, I'll say that. But I do have Ohio State winning this game. I say number 2, Ohio State, 38. Number 5, Michigan, 21. Ohio State wins 38-21. On to our next game. Number 1, Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Clean, old-fashioned hate, as they call it. Let's be real. This isn't going to be much of a game. Just last week, I was checking in on Georgia Tech, and they were getting beat 55-0 by Notre Dame. And Georgia has looked unbeatable this season, for real. It just hasn't been close, and Georgia's going to dominate. That's what I'm trying to say. I got Georgia 42, Georgia Tech 3. 42-3, Georgia wins. The Sunshine Showdown for our next game. Florida versus Florida State. Now, this rivalry, these two teams may have not been as prestigious as it previously has been in other years. But it's still a very good matchup, and it is very important this year because both teams are sitting there 1 win away from bowl eligibility. The winner of this game will play in a bowl game, and the loser won't. And plus, in-state, you add that rivalry, this in-state rivalry, with the possibility of playing for a bowl game, this is going to be a good game. I know Florida just fired Dan Mullen, but I still think it's going to be a good game. And I have a very close game. I have Florida winning 31, Florida State 28. Florida wins 31-28. Next, we have the border battle. Minnesota versus Wisconsin. Two very good teams. Minnesota, PJ Fleck. I think PJ Fleck's an awesome coach. I think Wisconsin is a very, very good team, very overlooked team. They've had a few bumps along the road. I get that. But you look at some of their losses. Some of their 3 losses came to Notre Dame, who's a top 10 team, and Michigan, who's a top 10 team. In fact, 2 top 6 teams, actually. So it's not like Wisconsin has been terrible this year. They're ranked number 14. But I have the Minnesota Golden Gophers pulling the upset for the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. I have Minnesota winning 35, Wisconsin 28. Minnesota wins 35-28. Next, maybe not as big as some other rivalries on here, but we have Notre Dame versus Stanford. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. This isn't going to be close. Stanford has sucked this season. I mean, other than that Oregon upset, which was crazy, they have sucked this season. And Notre Dame, I think, is being underlooked by a lot of people. I think Notre Dame wins big, 42-17. Notre Dame wins 42-17. Our next one, the Palmetto Bowl. Number 23 Clemson versus South Carolina. Clemson has dominated this rivalry the past few years, but man, Clemson has fell off a deep end this year. I'm so sad I haven't been able to cover it this year. But man, Clemson has fell off the deep end. Shout out to Clemson fan 1. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not sorry. For the way y'all have been acting the last year, I'm not. Last years, I'm not sorry. But yeah, number 23 Clemson versus South Carolina, and I hate to say it, but I think South Carolina pulls the upset. That was another lie. I actually love to say it. I think South Carolina pulls the upset. I got South Carolina winning 28-24 over Clemson. Next one. This is a newer rivalry. Not these teams' biggest rivalry, but it's a good one nonetheless. I have LSU versus Texas A&M. I mean, we all remember that game from a few years ago. 74-72, crazy overtime win. Yeah. These two teams usually have good matchups when they're on the field. And I think it would be no different this weekend. If LSU loses, it'll be the first time they haven't been bowl eligible since 1999, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I think it's the first time they haven't been bowl eligible since 1999, which is insane. But nonetheless, I think it'll be a good game. I think Texas A&M wins. I think number 15 Texas A&M wins 48-38. I'll have a high scoring game, 48-38. Next, this is not going to be played this weekend. It'll be played, I think, December 11th. But we have Army versus Navy, America's game. I'm going to be quick with this one. I think Army barely gets the edge. Army and Navy usually have a pretty good game, pretty competitive game. I have Army winning just a little bit, 24-21. Army wins 24-21. One of the games of the week this weekend, we have the Bedlam Series. Number 10 Oklahoma versus number 7 Oklahoma State. 2 top 10 teams. This one's hard to predict, but I know who I'm going with. I'm going with Lincoln Riley and the Sooners to get it done. I think they've looked very beatable this year. I don't think Oklahoma's like they have been in recent years, but nonetheless, I think Oklahoma is going to pull it off. Play in the rematch, which may go a different way, but neither here nor there. I think Oklahoma wins 35-24 over Oklahoma State. And last but not least at all, the Iron Bowl, aka the best rivalry in all of sports. we have number 3 Alabama. Roll Tide, roll, versus Auburn. Ugh, the team I hate the most. Can't even stand them. Can't even stand them. Not the point, though. I could go on about how I hate Auburn all day. Alabama's looked very beatable this season. Like I said, I haven't been covering it, but Alabama has struggled these past few weeks. I mean, you look 42-35 versus Arkansas, 7-point win. I get you expect a little more, and I don't think it's fair on the players to expect so much of them. I don't know if y'all seen Nick Saban the other day, but he went on a whole rant about that. But still, you got to still look into consideration that Alabama has looked weak this season. Auburn, they haven't looked good either. Bo Nix has a broken ankle. He won't play. So they'll have to stick with TJ Finley at quarterback. But Auburn will always give Alabama their absolute best. Doesn't matter if Auburn's 0-11, they will throw everything they have so they could go 1-12 versus Alabama. And same thing with Alabama. Alabama pretty much gives Auburn Alabama's best game too. And that's one of the things that makes the rivalry great. I have Alabama winning a close one. Now, I would love to say that Alabama wins 60-0, but that's not realistic. I think Alabama wins a close one. I got number 3 Alabama 41, Auburn 35. I think Alabama wins 41-35. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with my predictions? What predictions do you disagree with? What do you think the best rivalry in college football is? Let me know in the comments below. I read them all. Even if I don't react or like them or respond to them, I actually do read them all. And I'm sorry if I can't get back to all of them. But yeah, let me know. And like I said at the beginning of the video, sorry for the inconsistent uploads these past 2 years. I'll try to do better towards next year and the end of this year, but I can't promise much. I just can't. But thank you for watching, and peace.